Hi guys, welcome to the Team Schism YouTube channel. Today we're bringing you the first place Newcastle Ryzeal fiendsmith list. Andrew, it was your 14th birthday today, correct?
It was.
Okay, so yeah, really good up and coming player. And yeah, get straight into the list.
New. So I played 40 cards. It's like pretty standard, but it's got like a few random bits that are a bit strange. So for Ryzeal Engine, you've got like the three obvious ice, and then 2x and 2 sword. So the interesting thing is 2 sword. It's normal for people to play 3 because it's a strong extender and it's like somewhat a starter. But we decided to play 2 instead because Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, just cutting down on the normal summons and like cards that lock you into XYZs in this deck is super important.
The card's
This
also
deck is
really
very,
weak on second.
yeah, like ideally you only want to see like one of these cards, but this is more of a fiendsmith deck than it is a Ryzeal deck.
Normally, like, I want to see is ice because it's just the best one.
Yeah, hence why. Mm,
For the bricky ones,
um,
you've got a node and a cross. Cross isn't quite a brick. It obviously doesn't do combo on its own, but when you see it in your shot hand, it's really good because it helps you play around hand traps better. And it means even if your dual drive doesn't able to resolve, you still got this like help in the ground game. And obviously, it means every chance you get to draw two, and it's really strong. It came up in the finals because in game 3, I was just constantly able to draw, and it's really good. And then there's 3 bonfires. Just it's your best starter, and it's a good extender because it can either get ice, which is a good starter, or X, which is a pretty good extender. It doesn't work very well with fiendsmith cards, but well, the X anyway. But it doesn't work well with fiendsmith cards as an extend. But when you're locked into like pure Ryzeal, because maybe you've been like your Bishiel's, your fiendsmith have been Bishield, stuff like that. So it's just good as an extender and a starter. And then I think it's a 9 card package. Should be. Well, it's 12 with bonfires, but yeah. So it's a pretty small package. Then you've got like the actual deck itself, which is 3 engravers, 1 lacrima, 1 Lurry, 2 tract, and a paradise. These are all the good ones. You don't 1 tracks isn't enough because you get to a point where if you've resolved engraver once, you never get to resolve it again, which means you just have a card stuck in hand. And tract isn't just like it's not just something to search for engraver. It gets you to combo, and it's a great extender. You play Paradise because one, it's an out to Chaos Angel if you can search off Engraver, and if you've been locked at like only Fiends of Engine, it's crazy as an Embar piece. So it is literally just a ball wipe for free when you've got Desiree. You obviously play free Engraver because it searches everything, and you only need 1 of each. I was thinking about maybe playing 2 Lacrima because it does make Engraver full combo on its own, but it gets a bit bricky, and you get like way too many normal summons, and also that combo's never resolving really, so it's just not worth it.
yeah, I mean, it's just wasting time traps, and that's another reason to play the Paradise, right?
Yeah,
Like at the end of the day, this
obviously, yeah,
deck
that's
always
another
lives on
reason.
something.
Yeah, because it means Lacrima can shuffle back to summon Requiem and send this, obviously. It's what, like, Pack and stuff we're doing at the YCS. And then for hand traps, we play 20 non-engine cards. It's a 20-20 split of non-engine engine. So it's like, you're very consistent at opening the non-engine, and you pretty much guarantee see it every game. We played 1 Magnum Up and 3 Druisworms. We didn't think we needed Baldrake because why have a Baldrake which is not just which is just a DD Crow when you could have a DD Crow that's a body and it outs detonate. So we had to just play 3 of this. We weren't worried about the issue of like opening too many Bestials because if you open 2, it just like it's not a bad thing. Like you get to do 1 on your opponent's turn, so you can get rid of like the Engraver. Then you get to do a second 1 on your turn to get rid of the Requiem or Lacrima. So it cuts them off from doing a lot more plays. And obviously you have to play the 1 Magma. It's just the best Bestial. I think it is arguably one of the best contracts in deck because it does do the most on its own and it's really strong. It's also like these are the hardest to interact with because like with Charming, Ash, and with Nibs, by the time Nibs good, you can normally negate it. But these you can use them any time during your opponent's combo, so it's always strong. And given Fiends of cards are just the best currently, it does so super well paired into the board. Um, I didn't have access to Mulchami Fuel losses, but my friend Callum Smith was kind enough to give me free Perulias, so I just main deck free Perulia. The card was really strong. It came up a few times today where it would either stop people from resolving a really big combo, so like I would remove like a detonator from the board. They wouldn't commit into the Ryzeal engine, which made the board a lot more breakable. And when they would play into it, I'm getting 2 to 3 to 4 draws because just I'm out the Ryzeal summons from hand. because I ended up going V5 Ryzeal, a Tempai, and a Voices today, which obviously purely plays well into all of these. So it was just really nice for me to have it. Obviously, if I had the ability, these would be full losses, but just don't have access to them right now. And then for our last free off hand trap, I played Thrash. It's probably the second best hand trap in the deck. It hits everything and it can hit Charmies, which is really useful for me because I can't cross out them. So it's just the strongest, and it's good going first and second because you can Ash the Paradise Trap or you can Ash Requiem on either turn, so it's just good anyway. We played 2 Nib. I did want to play 3 of this, but I trusted Jamie. I think this card's really good. It's not good on its own, but paired with pretty much every hand trap in the deck, it's so strong. And if you see this alone and your opponent does like ice combo, you just hold this card. You don't do it like on Necrocrypt, and you don't do it for Caesar. You just hold it till the end because there's a chance if they see you don't like Nibiru them there, they might just not think you have it. They might commit into like a sequence line, which means now Nib has like infinite more value. And this card's actually gotten good value out of itself because it's outing more. And they go for they go for sequence and they commit to drive, then you do it there. And if they go Caesar, this wasn't being impactful anywhere. So you can just burn 1 Caesar negate, or the cross negate, either or. We played 2 Vela. It's a worse impermanent plays into talent, which is currently really popular. I think it did the job it needed to. I wanted to play 2 though, because if I see 1, since this card's popular, it's not I can't cross out it. But playing 2 like kind of solves that issue. And it's an all once per turn hand trap, so I can see multiples of it and it still be fine. We played 1 Ghost Ogre. We need it for crossout because the card's still really popular, and obviously doing it on duo drive is really strong. I got all good on my duo drive once today, and I had 2 materials on the Caesar, so duo drive just automatically had to detach from Caesar. I still got to end on like a pretty big board, so it wasn't insanely impactful. But obviously, it gets rid of my Caesar negates as well, which is still strong. Then we played 2 crossout. Jamie, why did we not play 3?
Like with a lot of the cards in this deck, it's like you just play 2 because going second, this format you need like every card in your hand to be live.
Mm-hmm.
So like yeah, seeing multiples that like don't pair together is like grim.
It would have been nice game 3 of round 6. So I drew because you had Imperf Man Cowboy, which was sad. If I had the cross out, I'd probably just win that game. So, but it's fine. And then we had 2 talents. I also want to play 3 of this card because I think going second, this is probably your best card in the deck because it makes weak hands really good. Because obviously you can draw 2, but you're never doing that really unless you go first and you know your opponent's entire hand for some reason. But if you got activate this into like they do something because you've forced out like a bestial or something. You got talents. They have to detonate a pop itself or taking detonate too strong, and then you get a Caesar. So now you don't lose a nib. You can stop the Requiem so they can't get to Paradise. And it's just so strong, and it removes so much interaction from the board. It is also just a threat in itself. Like even if you don't have talents, this card's still relevant because people will still play around it. Because if you play a talent and you don't have a way to beat it, you lose. Like this card's just so impactful. So I think I might consider playing 3 in the future because whenever I saw this card today, it was so good. Looking at the hands was also really well. I saw like crossout was talent, I think twice, which is just the most broken combo ever.
You wing it
So
first.
yeah, literally. So I love this card, and this card's really, really strong. I don't think I'd ever play a deck without it unless I'm playing like super heavy. And they played 1 Imperm. This is like the one really like not standard thing. Like everyone plays 3 Imperm, it's just normal. But we decided not to because this card pairs with all the hand traps that are the worst. Other than Nib, obviously, and this card also it doesn't pair with Bill or Visuals because normally you have to Visual pretty early on in the combo, which then turns off your Imperm, which sucks. It just doesn't work. And also going first, this is the worst card. Going first is the worst card to have because the moment you set it, it's just telegraphed to be an Imperm, and your opponent will just play around it. Compared to all the other hand traps where you can have any of them. So it feels really bad. And like going second, you have the value of implementing a detonator, obviously, but that's not always guaranteed because they might have cross out if this has like been your only hand trap. And it's obviously not always the best one to draw into because you have just these that just say no. But yeah, that's most of the reason. We start to play 1 for cross out, obviously, because the card is still popular, so we do need as a cross out target. Same for Ghost Ogre. But yeah. So that's the main deck. It not anything like too crazy, just a bit of the weird stuff that I couldn't get.
How many cards was it?
40. So it was
40.
20-20 split of engine and non-engine. And then for the extra deck, we have 2 detonator. You do need these because sometimes you can't get access to Frost, you need this. It's your best endboard piece, and it applies so much pressure. Even going second, or when you're in Chaos Angel grinds, like someone in defense versus Chaos Angel, it means they can't kill you, and every time they have to crash it, you lose material, but it means they can't safely commit without you just going detonate pop, detonate pop. Especially when you have a cross on board as well, it's really good. We played 1 dual drive. You obviously need to play it. Like, most lists only play 1, but we were tempted to play 2 because we obviously don't have twins of the Eclipse yet. So playing 2 meant that if we got negated turn 1, and then it got out, because it probably will, we have it for follow-up turn, so we can still get to cross, so we can recycle our engine. Because it is still valuable engine we need to recycle. Especially if we're playing like a low account. We played 1 aggregator. I wasn't sure on this card, because it only really comes up as like to go into detonator. Because the only way this is ever a board break of X is if you start with X. And that means you aren't getting Fiends of Engine, so that cuts off half of your deck. And it feels really bad. So I don't know if I would continue to play this card in the future. I don't think I'll play it. I definitely won't play it after Supreme Darkness comes out. But other than that, I think this card's very meh. I think this is one of the cuttable cards in your extra deck. Obviously played Caesar. It's good payoff for your Fiends of Engine, and it helps you beat cards like Nibiru and Bestials and such and such. You get Ice with it, obviously, which is really strong. So it like turns off some of their best Ryzeal engine. So it feels really good there. And obviously you can get like Requiem during your turn. You can get Requiem on their turn, so it's just strong there. Played 1 extra turn. It's Fiends with Extra Knight. We love it. It's the main way you get 2 Light Fiends through Rise Engine, because you normally want to make Exton over Moon, because this puts an Xyz in your graveyard for stuff like Node. Obviously this will normally be getting shuffled back, but if you it's better to have it than not if you can't get shuffled back. This card is
Yeah,
also the because if you
yeah,
go V Malice and they don't have a way to beat it, you just win the game on the spot because you just wipe everything. It's really good. That was all the Xyz. We didn't play Typhon because I think in every situation where you can make Typhon, you are either rank 4 locked or you are losing anyway. I don't think Typhon is ever a card that will win you the game. I think the only time it will ever be a card that wins you the game is if your opponent needs to crash like a Nibiru to get X5, but that's just like a 1 in a million thing to happen. That was all the Xyz. The only thing I think I'd change is like maybe Aggregator for a second dual drive or an Abyss Dweller. I don't think Abyss Dweller come up very much because I think in every opportunity where you can make Dweller, you are never getting to it. And when it is good, it is really strong, but I don't think there's enough scenarios where you can make it so it's where it's worth it. For the links, we played the Fiendsmith package. These are all really good. Nothing would change about these except maybe Moon, because most of the time you have like Exton, but since you're playing like Nibs and Bestials, it works really well. So I do think this card's still really good. But I think this is a card that could get cut, but I don't think you should. I think this card should always just be played anywhere. We also played SP, obviously. We nearly cut it, but I think this card's just mandatory. It does so much, and it applies a lot of pressure. Like, this forces out Detonator against really well. And it's also a good way to out like Desiree, because you can SP the Agumdare, you can SP the Sequence. So it's really strong there. And I get rid of Fiend's Default really well. Because my opponent negated my Bestials with Caesar, so I had to go SP to banish his Requiem. Like, obviously, he'd still resolved it, but now he doesn't have it for follow-up turns, which is really good for me. The tech card I played was Liner. Personally, I think Liner is one of the best cards in this extra deck. This card came up so much for me because it comes up in situations where you've only got Fiend Stuff and you get to Ryzeal, because you can crash it and add Ice, obviously. Or you can add Veil, which also does come up. It allows you to take your opponent's Detonator and use your effect on summon to touch like Desiree or something. So that means you now... So like 2 dead cards turns into a Detonator for no reason. It helps you take Fiend Stuff cards when your Requiem's gone or your Moon's gone. This is also better than Moon sometimes, because if they Detonator pop it, you just go, okay, I'll search engine now. So they can't always have that option. It's also very scary, because if you summon it, it normally forces out interaction. And if it doesn't, then that's fine, because now you get to take a Light Fiend and do stuff. Because you can like take a Light Fiend and make a Gumdare, so if you've like not got enough Light Fiends to shuffle back everything and do stuff, you got line attack like Lurie or Engraver. Because you're obviously never taking Lacrima or Requiem, because they'll just chain it. Then you can make this and bring out the Desiree that was dead in graveyard. So that does come up quite a lot. It also turns a hand trap as a nib token into a detonator, which is really cool. Or engine if you've got normal something and you've got like a Bestial. because sometimes making a theme to follow up isn't just real because maybe you've already gone through by the time you're making this card. So I do think this card's really good. I don't know. I don't know if I'll play it for Birmingham. I probably won't if I don't. I think there's like better cards that I can be playing at that point. I do still think it is really strong, and I do think it is like will be a consideration. For the fusions, we played just the two normal ones. Nothing special. This is just like what using a Paradise normally. Losing this is really sad, but like off like a Bishul when you Paradise with it. I did that a few times because it like just turns off how good fiendsmith cards are. And you have Necrocrypt to get you to seasonal like that Chaos Angel with just engine. This card also outs Chaos Angel because you can just continuously beat into it until they die and they can't do anything about it. So it's just a 56 speed stick, and when you touch Requiem, it just gets so big. It's huge for no reason. And you've had one Chaos Angel. This card solos a lot of decks, and it can just change games around it because of how powerful it is. And the bad players, this card's so good because they just won't know how to out it. They'll just fumble. I think Tempai's still quite popular in the format. Obviously, striker cards are pretty normal with it, but people are also playing fiendsmith. So if you make cards like this be them, they do struggle quite a lot. So it is still really strong. That's your extra deck. It's obviously 15. Then for the side, we played the three obvious cards. We played three Lancia. You need this card for Malice because even though personally I don't think Malice is that good, I do think you do need the cards for it still. And obviously Lancia is the best card for that. You can also summon it off Sanctum, which is a fresh target. This card can... no, that's it actually. When we get the new set, Christians might be relevant. I don't think it's very good, but it might be relevant, and Lancia really could be for them as well. So that's something to keep in mind. I played 2 Ghost Spell. I think Ghost Spell is really strong against Bestials. It's really strong versus Fiendsmith cards as well. So if you go with like a Fiendsmith Cashier deck, stuff like that, you can bell them and it's really strong. You can bell Bestials as well, which is relevant because during turn 1 combo, this is now like it's like a semi-cross out for Bestials. Because Bestials are really scary to go against. You can
Also
also
hit GWC.
yeah, it can also hit GWC, which is quite big. So yeah, that's the main thing. For time, I played 1 Cowboy, the Ghost. I felt like my mirrors, especially, were taking a long time because of like the grindy nature of this deck. So I felt like I needed some sort of time card. And obviously, it's a rank boss, which is obviously the best choice. I went time twice today. I drew once, and then I won the finals in time. Cowboy wasn't used, but it was an option. But it was better to just like try and solve the game out for a while. If you win game 1, you can normally grind out game 2 for quite a while, and this becomes a win con game 3. So this card's really strong. Also, never detonate a pop this card to like stop it from getting impermed because it doesn't resolve. Because if it can't check if it's in defensive, it's in the graveyard. So don't do that. We played 2 Thrust. You need it for mainly Malice because if they shift to you, you need an answer. And also the Ryzeal going first. Obviously, you have 2 targets on D-Barry and DDG. And going second, this can search Talons and evenly, and Bonfire as well, which did come up. So it is a very powerful card, and it's similar to Talents. It is a threat by its own. So even if you don't see it, it's still implementing in the game because your opponent has to play around it, which might make your plays easier, especially if like you try to bluff like you have it. Yeah. So we played 2 evenly. We felt that we needed like a good power spell / trap for us going second, other than just Talents. And I think evenly is probably one of the best ones. Because evenly into like a full Fiends of Ryzeal board, you get to out Caesar, you get to out Cross, you might out detonate because they might want to keep their Cross. So and you also get to remove Dual from the game completely. So this card felt really good, and it's a massive threat when you're going into boards. And people don't respect going battle phase as much anymore because this card's not as standard yet. But I do feel like cards like this are starting to become a lot more popular, which is the main reason of why I decided to play 2 Solemn Judgments. There's consideration of playing strikes over this, but because of the fact that I thought power spells were creeping back into the format with stuff like Ultimate Slayer and Evenly, I felt that I probably would rather have Judgment because Judgment obviously beats those cards without having to play into like talents and stuff with Desiree. Also means I don't have to end on Desiree. But there is like the sad part of like it costs half your life, and that makes killing you so much easier, which is like a worry of it. So you need to be careful when you use it. But I do think the card's very strong. But I do think Strike is like a fine replacement for it if you're not scared of these kinds of cards. But you really have to keep them in mind. And for the other thrust targets, I played one Dimbarry, one DG, and one Sanctum. These two are really strong with the Ryzeal. DG is a better one because their only usable card is Ice. So if you have like a Siege or any interaction with Ice, they just lose. And also, D-Bear is obviously strong calling Seas, but they still have Fiends to play, which is sad. But that shouldn't realistically play for your hand traps. But I played both because I've seen quite a lot of Tempai Striker going around and Tempai Fiendsmith. So playing D-Barrier for them means I don't just die, which is pretty relevant. And it also comes up for rogue decks, like Royce's Voice, other decks, like Branded maybe. And then one Sanctum, obviously, for Malice. This card's very important because you need it if you get shifted. And pretty much all it's there for is if you get shifted or you get charmed, it gives you just like an instant win button versus Malice. And if you hard open, it's even better. It's also Malice is another reason we play evenly. So obviously like Striker, Malice, and stuff like that, they are on like set 4 pass with like their end board. So being able to go like battle phase evenly, that's really strong. It's like the same reason Exton's so powerful. Just get this massive board blowout because I have no way to interact with it. Because that's just literally how the end board works. Because like not many people are playing Terahertz anymore, which means that they have like no way to like properly interact with the evenly, and it's just so powerful. But that is the side deck. It's 15 cards. I quite like this. I don't think there's much I've changed. Well, stuff that I can like humanly change. Like I obviously would play Fuel Losses if I had them, but that's really the only main change I would have. Other than that, that is the deck. But quickly for shout outs, I'd like to shout out Dan Pearson and Callum Laurie. They've been lending me cards for a long time, so I do really appreciate them. I'd also need to shout out my friend Smith for giving me the Perilius to play today, and Wonder as well. Shout out to Jamie Hunter, who's obviously in the call with us. He's like the main guy who built this deck, and he's one of my favourite testing partners to play with, so I really appreciate him. And then shout out to Total Cards Gaming Centre. They're like my main locals to go to test with, and they best shop in the UK Northeast. You can go check them out at totalcards.net. But yeah, thank you to everyone who helped me win the regional, and that's it.
All right, thank you very much, Andrew.